So here is my John Deere Gator, and it's got a problem, and it's none of the obvious things. The problem is choke doesn't do nothing. Why? That would be because it doesn't have a choke anymore. So the original carburetor has seen much better days. Let me go show you. Can't forget the beer. So here's the original carburetor, and it's not in super horrible shape, except for the fact that the throttle moves with that kind of force, and generally the whole rest of it, the fact that that guy does not have an adjustment on it, and I'm having to turn it with a fucking pair of pliers. But anywho, so there's the choke, and oh god, I didn't even realize that screw was backing out. So the original carburetor had a choke. It's got this whole complicated setup with the spring and everything in here, and plastic bushings and, steel bar and all that stuff, and this whole fancy fiddly geometry in here and everything. And new one doesn't have any of that. It's just a throttle, and all of this other stuff is still here. It's the exact same mold they're using. It still has the nub up here. It's the exact same shape, but no choke. However, does still start without a choke, as you can see. Takes a while, but there she goes. She will start with the choke, but it is also like 80-something degrees out and hot as balls. I'm not too confident it's going to do that in the winter. And you can always do the thing where you just come in here and just give it one of those and it'll choke up, but I have to put one hand over here and one hand over here and pop the hood up and all that stuff. And if I happen to be out somewhere and, I fill the bed up with dirt or something and the thing sat cold for an hour and I go to start it up, I can't get in here and actually mangle on that thing. And ooh, that vibration's annoying me. So yeah, I would like to have a choke on here. I mean, I already have a cable. I already spent a whole heck of a lot of time fixing this guy. It's already here. It's already plumbed. I would like to have something, right here to do choke things. So we're going to make our own bolt-on choke, and I have no idea whether or not this is going to work, but Lord, we're going to try. All right, so long story short, I ended up making this thing for that mower over there because it's got a compression bypass valve thingy, variable valve timing doohickey jobber guy that exploded on it, and so now its compression is too high and it won't actually start. So I had to hook this up in line with it in order to starve the engine of air so that it didn't have any air to compress and it could actually spin up to speed, and then I could, cut this open and the engine would actually run. And actually, thankfully, it's got enough leaks in this thing that I was actually able to suck enough air through that it's able to run without even having to, open this thing. But anyway, now I have a turnkey solution for this, so I should just be able to plumb this guy smack dab onto there and just close this up and see whether or not it works as a choke. The only difference is that, there's a lot of air gap in here, so it's not going to work as perfectly as a choke. But it should hopefully work, close enough. So we're going to huck this bad boy on here at one point and just see whether or not it can suck in some air. All right, so this guy is stone cold. So my plan is I am just going to take this hose clamp off, pivot this up out of the way, and then take this guy and just poop her on down there like that, close that valve, and just give her a crank and see if she touches off instantly. If she touches off instantly, then it's going to die instantly because this thing really does not like choke. So I don't know whether or not, I'll try this with it all the way closed just to see how it works in the first start. And if it touches off immediately, then we know this concept's going to work, but it'll probably die pretty quick, so I have to crack that. But we'll just see how well that works. So let's get to it. There it is. So valve is all the way closed. We're just going to give it a quick touch, just see if it pops off. I think it tried there. Let me see if it primed or not. I would say I don't think that's working, but we'll give her a full crack and see if she's already primed. Oh yeah, I think I flooded her out. I don't know if there's supposed to be smoke coming out of that, but there's smoke coming out of that. Well, that didn't quite work. So, yeah. Anyway, well, that did not work how I thought it was going to. That wasn't a permanent fix, but it was just something I was thinking about as potential backup. So maybe I might be able to plumb it in there in line with the air filter. I don't know. We'll see. Might have merit. All right, so we're out here trying to actually do fucking work with this damn thing. And, of course, when I actually need the thing to work, it fucking breaks down again. So I'm not getting anything out of the ignition, anything to the solenoid. The solenoid is not clicking. So either the solenoid has failed, the ignition switch has failed, or the wire going to the solenoid has failed. But I can jam a screwdriver in here and I can get it turned over. So it's got power to the starter. The starter spins up just fine. Just started up a minute ago just fine. Then, of course, I stop it and it doesn't work. Still don't know what this does, but I've been flicking and flacking it and it doesn't fucking do anything. And like I said before, we got that wire right there pulled off of the fucking purple wire, but I can also jam that down in there in order to cross that, in order to get this thing to run, hopefully. So, I don't have pliers with me and I am just fucking drenched in sweat, so I don't want to fucking, this stuff tastes like salt water, so I don't want to touch that fucking wire and tap that to the red cable because I'm gonna get the shit shocked out of me. But I do need to tap that guy to that, and if the solenoid clicks, then I know my ignition has failed, or the wire, that purple wire, has failed somewhere between the ignition and this. And I know that there is something going wrong with this ignition or something in here, because one of those wires the other day, I tried doing, it did this exact same thing to me. One of those wires on the back of that ignition switch was smoking hot, like fucking like 150 fucking degrees or something. I almost couldn't hold the damn thing. So something ain't quite right in the wiring between there and there. And I guess, you know, best option I got right now is unwind this and just tap it right here. Oh, solenoid works. So, okay, so we got a wiring issue, and or that guy. Or maybe it was stuck, we'll see. Okay, well, I just filmed a whole bunch of shit, and I wasn't fucking filming the entire time. So, I'm fucking mentally smoked right now. This son of a bitch is fighting me. It's not gonna crank. Got power to the solenoid, or power to the starter. I've turned the starter over with the screwdriver. That's fine. But I'm getting no clicks out of the solenoid. I just grabbed this mystery wire that, you know, if you remember from earlier in the series, was just kind of tucked in here. And this is a hot wire for the solenoid for the starter. And I get it to click again. Oh, there we are. She tried to start there. But solenoid works. All right, it's just miraculously running again. All I did was fiddle with that switch and grab onto that wire down there. I have a feeling that's a kill switch, and that's a ground that grounds something out in here that kills the engine. Because all I did was just diddle that and then grab where it's hooked into this loom right here and just crunch that. Now it's working. So I don't know, but I'm assuming I should probably disconnect that just to be safe and just tuck that out of there, because I really don't know what that's doing. And if it still keeps doing that, then buy a new ignition switch. But anyway, I'm gonna go get this thing back to the house because I don't have to fucking tow this. Well, we're out in the cow pasture and we got a flat tire, so that's great because I'm a fucking half-mile from the house. So we're just gonna limp on that all the way back home, but we're buying a new tire, I guess. Force my hand. Great. Well, $70 and 7 days from now, we'll have a fucking tire back on this thing. Good fucking God, this weekend is cursed. Yesterday, the ignition. Today, the tire. Well, that reminds me, I should probably buy an ignition, so I'll do that. Oh, Lord, I can't get anything done nowadays. So, best I can figure, I ran over one of the feral oranges out in the cow pasture because they've got big fucking spines like that. They're like damn near that big around. So for all you people up north, it's like running over a honey locust. So I'm guessing one of those went right on through it and popped the inner tube. Either that or I just torqued the thing all funny like, and the tire ripped and it pulled on the inner tube and ripped the inner tube. Either or, probably both. Always something, always something. Wasn't even doing anything productive. Well, actually, I was making a video for this channel, so yeah, so I wasn't doing anything productive. All right, so we got a new tire. I went with Ocelot because they were the cheapest. $62 plus tax and shipping. Can't beat that. It was like $90 for the cheapest one I could find when I first got this thing 6 months ago. So that was a pleasant surprise, but hopefully this thing inflates correctly and doesn't unbalance the thing. And we also got a new ignition switch with an uncircumcised key. So I think I'm just going to throw this in here real quick, and I'm hoping I can reuse this plastic nut. Hopefully it's the same thread pitch, but we'll stick this in here, and if we still have ignition problems, then at least we know it's not the ignition switch and it's something else in the farmer wiring. So that'll be fun. All right, so that sucker's on there, and it's starting to rain. Let's see, we still got power. It starts, so good, great. Additionally, I get a non-universal John Deere key, so that's nice, so people can't steal my pile of junk now. And yeah, hopefully that fixes all the ignition issues, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be sad. And I'll have some rewiring in my future. And boy, do I love reverse engineering John Deere / farmer wiring. Fun. But anywho, I'm gonna go inside because it's raining, and we'll get to this tire eventually. I don't know when the hell I'll have time to do that, but as long as that thing doesn't fight me, we should be able to de-bead that, clean up the bead, and put a valve stem in it. I hope I have valve stems. Well, that's on there, and it's probably fucked, and I probably have to tube it already. I think I ripped the rim, but it's on there. I've had a fucking shit day, and this was a nice fat fucking dookie icing right on top of the shit cake. So I'm just gonna get fucking hammered and drive this thing around and run it, wrap myself around a tree or something just to top it off. Oh god, fuck. All right, so I'm fucking fried mentally, at my wit's end. I think that's the technical term. But anywho, let me just recap everything that went on with this fucking tire. So, de-beaded the old tire. Didn't actually fight all that much. The actual fucking, there was like six or dozen something in between their fucking like 16th inch metal bands in there in the bead. They had actually rotten through on the other tire and broken off. So it was very easy to de-bead the old tire. Took that off of there. Had big fat fucking rust cankers. Just where this thing had been sitting full of water on the old tire. So I had to fucking wire wheel, and then big wire wheel, and then bigger wire wheel, and then flap disc, all of those down into a nice smooth surface. Then put a valve stem in, and then I got the tire on there, got the first side on there, fought me, and then went to get the second part on, and halfway on getting that bead over the rim, fucking ripped the rim all the way up. Not on the front, not on the front part of the rim, but the whole back part of the rim, the whole bottom and the back of the rim, just tore it. Got really fucking furious, put a nice big fucking dent in this guy over here with tire iron, or whatever you want to call it, tire spoon. Got this guy on here, pumped it full of about probably a cup of tire slime. And actually this side, which has the torn bead, sealed. Because it was fucking, they had a bead leak like a motherfucker. And then I pumped it full of tire slime, put 20 PSI in it, and it sealed. But then the back was still leaking. So, yeah, I have no idea if this is going to hold air or not. I hope at the very least it'll hold air for, like, at least a week or two at a time. Just enough that I can, pump air into it. But I'm pretty confident I'm going to have to fucking tube this. Oh, yeah, and I tried to put the fucking bead on this, and the bead would not set. And I couldn't fucking do it. I was just so fucking pissed off and angry. I wasn't even drunk. I was just mad. Just had a shit day. Dog dug out. Had to take off early from work to come get the damn dog. And then the dog got caught before I even got back. And then I had to fucking come down home. God fucking. Sorry, I don't even mean to be bitching. But just, I got to vent a little bit. Just had an ass day. Woke up in an ass mood. Went to work. And then had an ass day. You know how it goes. So anywho. Fucking couldn't get this damn bead to seat. Tried to do it with starting fluid. Burnt my damn mustache off. With the starting fluid because I couldn't even get the damn starting fluid to pop. And then I finally got out of my fucking blind rage and just went and got the ratchet strap and strapped it and then got the bead to set after that. then slimed it and put it on and just drove it around, and we'll see whether or not this thing holds air. Honestly, it actually rides a lot better with like fucking 15 PSI in the rear tires. I was putting 6 in it as it recommended, and that just sucks. The thing goes up and down like this. Also, I did put this on there, which wasn't in there. It rides like ass with 6 PSI in it when you're going 17 miles an hour. But it rides a hell of a lot better when you got 15 PSI in it and a bunch of extra weight in the back and half a frame. So I think we're just going to run everything at like 15 PSI. I think, I don't know, I'll try the fronts at a higher PSI. I think I've already got them at like 10 or 12, but we'll see. So I just hope this sucker fucking holds air. And if not, we're going to have to tube it too. And I'm not looking to reset that bead. No fucking disrespect to the Ocelot brand or anything. It's entirely on me. I did not clean up the outside of this fucking rim, and I'm confident that's what's tore it. So yeah, that's on me. Fucking God. And I woke up this morning and said, I'm gonna quit drinking. And then I had one of these days, and then before you know it, you're pounding a fucking whatever fucking 12% fucking ABV fucking stout. Well, dehydrated and hungry and angry. Such is my life.
All right, it's the next day, and still got air in it. It still has plenty of air in it, so we may just get lucky and be able to limp it along like this. I did also put an unholy amount of slime in it, so that could also help. But anywho, maybe, just maybe, we'll get by. All right, it's about to be the Gator's time to shine, or time to fucking be a massive disappointment. Hurricane Idalia's about to slam into Florida and then fly through here as a beefy tropical storm. And based on the predictions, it looks like it's going to be another Matthew or Irma type situation. You know, not particularly strong winds, but a fuck ton of surge. And both of them put probably a good 3 or 4 foot of water over the, the regular king tide line out here. And I got a lot of dock pieces washed up in my yard, so maybe, just maybe, we'll be making a bunch more hurricane benches, which is what all of these are. These are all made out of somebody's fairly new dock back in 2017. But anywho, current track says probably going to get some 50 mile an hour sustained winds from the southeast on top of an astronomical tertiary nocturnal king tide. So probably going to have about something around like a 7 3/4 tide here, with potentially up to 6 foot of water being blown straight up the creek by 50 mile an hour winds. So we might end up, with something approaching a 14 or 15 foot tide here, which will be fun. God, I'm not looking forward to it. I got so much shit going on. So anyway, we'll see whether or not the Gator falls apart or not. Tire ain't flat yet, so we got that going. Lord, she coming. Well, ain't too much. Couple limbs over yonder, but kind of a suck-ass hurricane thus far. Well, apparently Florida got it pretty good, but just been like 20-30 mile an hour winds, and that's about it. Well, it's windy. Not even that windy. But ooh, we got white caps coming in. Ooh, here comes some wind. But yeah, it's oh yeah, look at that shit. Man, we got surf out here. That's weird. So yeah, it's 6:30. High tide's gonna be about 9:45. So this is mid tide right now. And it's currently about a 6 right now. So it's supposed to go up to an 8.3 astronomical plus surge. Doesn't look like we're getting much rain, so that's not gonna add too much on top of it. But my dock is already holding on for dear life, at least this front end of the pier. Matthew beat the tar out of it, and then Irma kicked it in the kidney. Killed that guy's dock over there. Matthew did. So I don't think she's got another surge left into her. Will you calm down over there? Well, anyway, wind's starting to come. But Yeah, I might be hauling some of that on the marsh with the Gator.
All right, and what I'm gonna be pissed about is lightning struck this tree in 2018 and killed a whole fucking third of my best looking live oak. And if this son of a bitch doesn't come down in this hurricane, I'm gonna be pissed. Because I've waited 5 years now at this point for this shit to fall down and not paid someone to go up there and hack it off. I don't think it's a good sign if I can hear the transformer for my house. I'm just gonna ignore that. All right, well, we're in the eye of the storm right now and it's dead quiet and causeway's full of water. I'm not gonna walk in that because I have to wash my feet off. But yep. It's about a 9 foot. Nothing too crazy. Whole bunch of water in the yard. Ooh, there's fire ants all over my feet. Fucking shit. Ow. That hurts. Rude little shitheads. Well, guess we're gonna get salt water on them. Well, Doc's still here. Didn't even lose any board. Actually, I gained a board. I don't even know where that 2x4 came from. But yeah, definitely was a high tide. We got rack on the dock. So I don't know what tree bees are supposed to do, but they're doing something right now. That's a lot. That's a lot of tree bees. I don't think they like me being here. Guess what I found? Oh yeah, got me a running board off of Mr. Billy Big Rig. I think that might just make a tailgate, if I'm lucky. Moment of truth. Oh, it's 48. Damn it. I can make it work. I can hammer some shit onto there. We can sister that. Not bad for finding that in a ditch. All right, never mind. This sucker's too short. It's only 5 inches wide. Theoretically, in a perfect world, I could fold this thing flat because it's about 1 3/4 inches that way and about 1 inch that way, which, you know, taking out all the error in there for the kerf and whatnot, that'd give me another, what is that, 5 inches? And that'd give me a 10-inch piece of stock, which would actually work, but it's still not short enough, so I'd still have to add wings on it, and also it's structural aluminum, which I have absolutely no way to fold this flat because it's just going to tear and rip off. So we'll save this for another project. However, we've got these 2 pieces of full width 3/4 inch treated plywood, which are roughly 10 inches. Well, closer to 9 on either end, but they're better than the board we've got on it now. And I'm thinking I could take the remainder of this stop sign that I cut up to fix the massive hole in the deck, cut this sucker in half, fold over about 2 inches on either side, and then use the remaining roughly 5 or 6 inches to put those 5 or 6 inches like that on the back of this, bolt that down to it, and then we have this wing over here with an air gap of about 1.5 inches on either side. And that'll fill up that 51-inch gap in the back of the deck perfectly. And I can just have a hole drilled over here that I can plop this in and then run a short bolt through and put a lock nut on the back of that, take out whatever slack I need with washers and whatnot on either end of that to act as the hinge. And that'll give me a much sturdier deck that isn't like the board that's on there now. But seeing as how these are only about 10 inches tall, they're not, no, they're about that much taller than the one. I can probably get it level. I'd rather have this thing be a little bit taller, but we'll see. But that's my this is my new backup plan for a deck, unless I find another street sign lying around. Because I would love to just make it out of one solid sheet of aluminum, but this will give me something a little bit more meatier, a little bit more structural. Might have to add a piece of angle iron or something on the back just to give it some rigidity, but we'll see. So we'll put this back on the back burner, and we'll revisit it whenever I get to that point. Well, this ignition doesn't do nothing because she fires up and this whatever wire in there is still getting red hot, and she just died on her own and can't get her started again. So I was just gonna have to let her sit here and cool off until that fixes. This is a real pain in the ass. There's a bad ground somewhere and I don't quite know where it is, and I'm too fucking lazy to just clean the grounds. So we'll figure it out eventually. All right, 2 beers and 1 ball joint on the Jeep later. Let's see if she'll start up now. Oh, come on, you dirty fucking slut. Fuck you. All right, well, something else has gone horribly wrong because I can't even get her to stay running long enough to get back in it to fucking drive it over to the damn garage we're using the emergency farmer wiring start right there. And for whatever reason, that tube there is just pissing fucking gas everywhere down here for some reason. So something in the carburetor has done something it ain't supposed to be doing. We'll leave it at that. And yeah, it's just straight gas. It's just fucking belching gas out. So I guess the needle and seat has failed in the fucking open position, I guess, because it's just flooding the fucking engine out now. Exciting. I'll pull the air cleaner off and just make sure there's not a fucking wasp nest in there or something, but I can't even get it to fucking stay running long enough to get over there. I got fire up. The key doesn't fucking do anything anymore. Doesn't even click the damn solenoid. It's been setting for 3 hours. So that is not a good sign. Okay, so the flooding may be because I left it in gear like a fucking retard, so oops. All right, so I've pushed her back over fucking here and taking the fucking thing off of out of gear didn't seem to help the carburetor. We're still pumping gas out of that fucking tube on the carburetor, so some ain't happy in the carburetor, which is never a bueno thing, so well, fucking see, you know. All right, so it's been a couple weeks and starter's still not starting. Clicking now, but it's not starting. There was a bad connection between the battery and the exciter wire on the starter solenoid, because that hot wire in there will start this thing up every single time, even with a shitty ass connection just arcing that thing onto the positive terminal of the starter. So something between the battery, the ignition, and there has gone to shit, and I'm fairly certain it's not the ignition itself because we just replaced it. So there is somewhere something is losing a shit ton of amps, and I'm gonna see if I can pinpoint where it is, and if not, I'm just going to fucking see whether or not this switch still works, and then just rewire that as a fucking starter switch. Actually, I'd rather not do that because I don't want to accidentally hit that and have my fucking starter explode. But I mean, might just if I can't get something figured out today. So we're gonna look at that. Additionally, the carb is still just absolutely fucking flooding itself out. So we're gonna pull the new carburetor off of there and see if there's just junk in the bowl and then clean it out. And if not, we're gonna put the old fucking carburetor on, because the old carburetor ran fine, and then and this Chinese one is better, but it's still been giving me, you know, equal amounts of fucking bullshit. So I might just go back to the old carb and not have to worry about a choke. I don't fucking know. Maybe we'll get into the old carb again and just clean it up again and just see if I can go about tuning it before, because I think a lot of it was the actual throttle position and not the actual, you know, carburetor itself. So we'll see. I'm gonna get to it. Don't mind me just going through the startup procedure on my Gator. Fucking annoying. All right, let's see if it floods out before I can get it on the damn slab. And there she goes. And let's see. Is she pissing gas everywhere still? Yeah, and there comes the gas just starting to drip out of there. God damn. I've never had a carburetor fail this quick before. Anyway, let's get to it. All right, so just real quick, I have the voltmeter hooked up negative to the negative terminal of the battery, and positive hooked up to that wire that I'm using to jump it, which is just sistered in to the exciter wire for the starter solenoid. I'm just gonna hit the key. We'll see what it shows. Yeah, we're only getting 7 volts. So we've got a voltage drop somewhere between that and there that we need to suss out. And that's it. And just to confirm, the actual battery voltage is 12. So, yeah. We're somehow losing 5 volts between there and there. So let's get to it. Alrighty, so looking up here at the ignition, the G is ground, I'm assuming, and everything else on there except for B is a dead wire, but B appears to be the hot wire. I haven't looked up a schematic, but we have full voltage at that hot wire.
So anyway, I just hooked that up to the hot wire, and I just tapped the ground to everything else, and I'm getting a full 12.2 through all the other contacts up here. So of course that's unloaded, but it's probably an amperage drop then, so it's probably a crusty contact. It's not that contact because, you know, we're literally tapping that right there and we're getting it. So it's somewhere between this purple wire, purple-ish wire, going down into that loom and then disappearing forever and then coming up here somewhere. All right, so unplugging that and checking this again with it not under load. It's showing 12.2, so that's not going to tell me anything. All right, so I crawled underneath here to try and locate these wires, and there was some undisclosed meese action going on up in here. And I think, you know, this and that right there. I think this might have something to do with the electrical gremlin, so I'm gonna see if I can finagle some access in there and fix that. Alrighty, so I'm assessing things up in here, and I have no idea how the fuck this thing ran. So this purple wire, there's just several inches missing. Same goes for this black wire. This green and white wire has a lot of things wrong with it, and this red wire, that's copper oxide up in there. Okay, the camera refuses to focus, but that's all that blue and green shit, that's copper oxide. So this that's actually broken right there. That's it. So that red wire wasn't doing anything. This purple wire ain't doing nothing. That black wire ain't doing nothing. And this gray wire and this green and white wire are very close to not doing anything. So I'm going to patch all of that with all the same color wire, probably, just because. All right, channeled my inner farmer to re-farmer wire this. Let's loom it up and see if it starts or catches fire. All right, that's all lubed up and pushed out of the way. Let's see if she cranks. All right, battery's hooked back up. Moment of truth. Think that fixed it. Well, oh, yeah, it's flooded, so it ain't gonna start. So now we move on to the carburetor. All right, so new problem. I started taking the carburetor off, and then I went to run the thing dry, because even if it's flooded, I had the thing wide open with the fuel shut off and everything, and I couldn't get it to touch off. And apparently, we've lost spark now. So something I hook back up, make the sparky no worky, which is annoying. So let me try and figure out that. I figure it's probably an interlock that was previously disconnected that is now reconnected, and I'll have to suss that out. Okay, I figured it out. So this is a kill switch, but it wasn't working before because the interlock was disconnected. But now it works because... But... Oh. Okay, well, I don't know, but it's working now. All I did was jiggle that wire down there, and it started working. So that had something to do with it. Don't know what, but it did something. Oh boy, gremlins are so fun. You done yet? All right, old carburetor's off, but I broke this thing, so I'm gonna go see if I can hot staple that back together and finish that scotch, and then we're gonna dissect this sucker and see just what the fuck is wrong with it, and probably just throw the old one back in. All right, so I have no fucking idea what the hell this is made of, but it don't melt. It's like it's like asbestos or some fucking shit. So that's interesting. I'll see what the hell I can do with that. All right, so there that is, lock wired together. That's better than broken, I guess. And I haven't pulled this out yet, but let's see what the hell's in here. Well, there's definitely, well, no, that's like water. There's some smuts in there, but let's look at that needle and just see what the hell we're dealing with down in there. I'm not seeing crud, which is a bad sign. So, I'll give it a quick spritz with carb cleaner, but it's not an ideal sign. All right, so that's cleaned and put back together. I honestly did not see anything out of the ordinary. So we're just going to jam it back in here, and we'll see if it still keeps flooding. And if it does, I'll just put the old one back in, because ain't nothing else I can do at this point. Alrighty, there's all that, and here goes nothing. Alright, might need to work throttle a bit. Alright, had to give her a little bit of choke action, but we'll just let her sit here and idle for a bit, and just make sure she stays steady. Alright, she's been going for a couple minutes, and I don't see any more flooding action, so I guess that was it. I guess there was just one little grain of schmutz caught on the needle and seat or something, because it's fine now. Also great to know that that fucking fuel filter is doing jack shit, but I digress. We'll just call it teething issues. But anywho, I'm gonna go run this thing around a little bit and go get it stuck somewhere and come on back. Also, I started editing all of my videos. I have not edited jack shit since fucking March or something. And yeah, I've got 2 hours on this episode already. I've got fucking 3 hours on these fucking mowers. It's gonna be at least 4 episodes. I thought it was gonna be 2, but anyway, I digress. I filmed too goddamn much, and I should shut my damn mouth up. And so the whole point of that clip was saying, you know, I am acutely aware of how much I fucking run my mouth for no goddamn reason as I sit here and run my mouth for no goddamn reason. We're gonna drive this thing around and see whether or not it blows up. Well, everything seems to be doing fine. Ah, no, my rye. Well, everything seems to be going just fine. I've only spilled rye on myself 5 times, and no flooding issues yet. Well, something just did something, and the whole thing died. It felt like the governor stopped governing, which is not a good sign. But all of a sudden, I felt it in the throttle, and then she just kind of limped to a dead stop. Always something.
Welp, that'll do it. The fucking throttle spring just snapped. Okay. Well,
Interesting. Huh. Okay, well, I'm just going to loop that lock wire back around that, and that should hopefully get me back to the house. Always something.
okay, so I just looped the lock wire around there, so
We've completely bypassed the governor. We'll bypass the spring, and we're just pulling on the governor. So we'll try and limp home at about 5 miles an hour, because if that governor yanks on there too much, it's going to bend that lock wire. All right, made it back.
all right, I'm going to say that was probably a consequence of me fucking with the governor, as well as me putting the spring in the same hole as this. So I guess I'm going to order up a replacement spring. I probably should have put the lock wire around the governor instead of just through the spring, because just putting it through the spring, that means that when I slam on the throttle and I have have my foot pegged out down there, and I've got, the lock wire holding the spring in place, all of that extra force that the governor is now putting on that spring, the governor's yanking on, trying desperately to woe this thing up, it's putting all of that force onto this, just between there and the end of this spring. So I'm pretty certain that's what sheared that off, is that spring is never meant to see that kind of torque, and it eventually just snapped it after having me just a couple hours of me running this thing like that. So lesson learned, I guess. Well, not really. I'm just gonna I'll just bypass the governor in a slightly smarter way next time. But yeah, I'll go look up a part number for that and order a replacement. But maybe if I'm lucky, I'll have one in the garage, but probably not. But I'll take a look, but probably gonna have to order one. All right, so here's my somewhat cursed temporary fix. I have just looped lock wire again through the last 2 rungs of the spring, and then just looped that through here. So now that is operating as the hook for the spring now. So spring can still, you know, spring, because it's only pulling on, lock wire is only holding on here, and this is also looped through the this governor bypass piece of lock wire that I got on there. So that still functions, and it's also positively locked, so it can't like slide off because it's caught in that. So I'm gonna fire up and test this out too, and just see if this will work as a temporary fix, and then order up a new spring. All right, so that works just fine. Don't even really notice the difference. I'll look and see how much a new throttle spring is, and if it's like $20, then we'll just not fucking buy one, because that works for the time being. But anywho, only really shit I got left on the menu for this thing is just figuring out the choke thing, and the throttle. I'm really tempted to just put the old fucking carb back in there and not fuck around with the new choke, but I don't know. I still got to think on it. I got other more pressing things I need to get rid of, and as long as this guy is running well enough that I can let Dad play with it, then it's good enough for me, and I'll put my focus somewhere else. All right, with all that having been said, I think I'm going to end the video here. We are exactly where we were when we started, if not slightly farther behind. So it is what it is, but I should probably call this video here because it's getting long in the tooth. And next episode we'll work on something else. Don't know if I'm gonna jump on that carb or not, but we'll work on something else. So if you like what I'm doing here and you like this video, consider going down there and smashing that thumbs up, and leave a comment. Tell me anything else you saw wrong with this thing that I should be fixing. I don't read it anyway. It just drives engagement. So anything, just go down there, insult me or something. It all helps me out. And if you want to see the rest of this debauchery-filled derelict gator, you gotta subscribe. So smash the big gray button. And until next time, I'm out.